Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I love all the feedback that I'm getting on these episodes. I hope you're getting tons of value from this. And I love being able to create these episodes. I look forward to it each month. If you haven't already, make sure to rate and review the podcast. It helps other women like you to find this resource that could be a game changer for them to be able to grow their confidence and reduce their anxiety. Today we're talking about the feeling of not liking being the center of attention, which is a really common experience from the women that I work with, and it was my experience earlier in my life. Everybody probably would be really surprised that I felt that way. Some really common phrases that I hear from women are like, I'm quiet, I'm shy, I don't like attention, I don't like being the center of attention, I don't like all eyes on me, it feels like pressure. I tend to shrink down, hide, avoid, procrastinate, defer to other people, deflect to something else, pass the baton to somebody else. This can start to become a sense of identity, that you think of yourself as someone who doesn't like to be in the spotlight. This is something I don't like. Just like you don't like eating Indian food. I love Indian food. I'm just saying. There could be something in particular that you think of that you don't like. And so years and years and years and years, maybe a lifetime goes by that you don't have that thing, engage with that thing, go to that place, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, someone invites you to go get Indian food that you really want to spend time with. And so you go and you try that chicken jalfrezi or whatever it is, chicken korma. And you're like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing all this time? Be careful of having that kind of rigid mindset around your identity. This topic makes me think of memory from my childhood. I was probably 8 years old or so. My family always went to the beach in Connecticut for the summers. It was such a special time there. And there were a few other kids that were my age. I went over to one of the friends' house around dusk, and we ended up deciding to play hide and seek. I was feeling socially anxious. In retrospect, I can see I was experiencing social anxiety around spending time with kids that I didn't know very well. And so when it was my turn to hide, I hid somewhere pretty far away from the house and waited and waited and waited and waited until everybody went back inside and the game was over and they didn't know where I had gone. And then I stealthily sneaked back to our house, to the comfort zone of my family. This is such a small moment in my life, but I remember the feeling of anxiety, almost terror. I was behind a bush and just shrinking down, being small, being quiet, trying to keep myself contained in order to avoid being seen, literally. Throughout my life, there have been versions of this kind of avoidance and hiding and shrinking down, and certainly many situations of experiencing social anxiety and performance anxiety, and all these kind of coping mechanisms that I've tried to help myself either get through that situation that seemed unavoidable or a coping strategy to avoid it in the first place. What I've discovered is that I felt this way in large part because interacting with others, especially people that I don't know very well, and that includes being in front of an audience, takes a lot of energy for me. It takes energy. And when I was younger, especially, and still sometimes now, I didn't have the energy to spare. I was already depleted, burnt out, overwhelmed, panicked, anxiety-ridden. There's lots of reasons, and I don't need to go deep into my personal story here. We all have our reasons. I was really depleted, so I didn't have the energy. And ask yourself now, if you don't like being the center of attention, is one of the reasons because it's too much. It's too much. I don't have the energy to deal with it, to figure it out. It's just, ugh. And you go back to your comfort zone. This experience also happens because of ingrained fears that come from internalized beliefs. So for example, back to that hide and seek game when I was 8 years old. I didn't know it then, but I had an internalized belief that I needed to be the best. I needed to be cool. I needed to stand out and be better than everybody else. And it was just too much pressure for me to handle. Again, it takes a lot of energy to live up to those internalized beliefs. So if you're holding yourself to a very high standard, that could be one of the reasons why you're avoiding the center of attention and end up identifying as someone who doesn't like being the center of attention. We all need time in our comfort zone in order to recharge. That's a human thing. That's an animal thing. However, for introverts, it's even more important because an introvert is wired to lose energy, to be depleted, just like a battery losing its energy when there's something externally focused that's outside your comfort zone. This whole dynamic, this whole pattern gets reinforced when we see people who are louder than us, take up more space than us, have a stronger, maybe even more aggressive approach to communication, getting the opportunities, getting the credit, and getting the success that you might want. Let's label those people as extroverts. A lot of times, it's an extroverted energy that steals the show. But let's look back at you, a more introverted woman. When you're really relaxed, think about a moment that you were really relaxed, when you were connected to something that made you feel passionate. It might be a topic that you're passionate about, a person that you're passionate about, and you get all fired up. Maybe you're really funny when you're relaxed. Maybe you get really talkative when you get on a particular topic. Every introvert that I've ever talked to, if you get them going on something, they're passionate, they're engaged, they're expressive. So I would challenge you a little bit that maybe it's not that you don't like being the center of attention. It's that you want to conserve your energy for topics that are important to you and for situations where you feel comfortable and safe. So then the trick becomes, well, how do I create safety in other situations like at work with that boss that freaks me out? Or in that meeting with the really extroverted coworker. It's possible to create that safety within yourself and learn how to manage your introverted energy differently, as well as to unravel the conditioning that's holding you to this incredibly high standard of perfectionism. I'm passionate about women finding their flow state in front of others, even when they're nervous what other people are going to think. Because in the flow state, that's when you don't care if you're the center of attention. It's not about other people. It's about you flowing and expressing, and it feels good and there's momentum. And then that momentum serves your audience as well. So I invite you to commit 100% to your communication, adjust how you manage your energy so that your cup is filled up, you're not depleted, and start to question some of the internalized beliefs you have around how you should show up. If this is interesting to you, if you're feeling some value from what I'm sharing right now, to really get past this belief of I don't like being the center of attention and to experience something different, you would get a lot of value out of my masterclass where I teach the 4-step framework to overcoming public speaking fear without scripts or excessive rehearsing. And you'd also get a lot of value out of the Fully Expressed program, which you'll learn about in the masterclass as well. So if you haven't already, hop over to speaktoinspire.com and check out the masterclass, and then consider the Fully Expressed program and see if it makes sense to sign up for the program and get access to the coaching so that you can get on the path to passionately expressing your opinion, speaking up for what matters to you, and inspiring others with your thought leadership. I'm Julia Kraft, founder of Speak to Inspire programs, and I'd love to be your public speaking coach. If you have any questions, my phone number is 415-818-0241. That's my mobile. Call me anytime, text me anytime. I'm here to support you, and I'm eager to help you. So don't hesitate. Go ahead and reach out. Watch the masterclass. I'd love to have you in the program, and the world really does need your voice. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you on the next episode.